All right, so let's talk about the new report that came out from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because this report is going to have big impacts on not only the crypto market and what we are going to see over the coming months, but also all global financial markets and all of your assets. So you see, every single month, the Bureau of Labor Statistics releases a report about the current state of the economy. And for June of 2022, there were a number of very surprising statistics that world's top economists were not expecting. You see, this report talks about payroll increases, about average hourly earnings. It talks about unemployment. And much of what was in this report was a complete surprise to investors and economists. In the report for June 2022, payroll increased 372,000. And this was more than expected by a significant amount. Non-farm payrolls increased 372,000 in the month of June 2022, which was better than the 250,000 estimate. This is a pretty significant increase. It's a 50% increase from what was actually expected. And the reason why this is important is because it's going to have impacts on what the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell are going to do with regards to inflation over the coming months. You see, with this report, we saw that jobs are we're still seeing more and more people getting jobs. This was not expected. We weren't expecting to see this much of an increase still month after month, because technically we're in a recession. So the reason why this is important is because now the Federal Reserve basically has the green light to go ahead and increase interest rates at an even faster rate. So coming into the July meeting, Fed officials are already expecting that Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve are going to increase interest rates at a 75 basis point hike in July. And this is very important because they were debating between a 50 basis point hike and a 75 basis point hike. But now, because it looks like on paper the economy is doing pretty well, people are still getting jobs, there's no slowdown there. It doesn't really look like we're in a recession, even though some prices, like say gas prices, are continuing to rise and we're seeing issues with inflation. But if we're looking at jobs, people are still having their jobs, so there's no issues there. So the Federal Reserve is going to go ahead and increase interest rates at an even faster rate. And many Fed officials are saying July, basically guaranteed, it's going to be a 75 basis point hike. September, you could see another 50 or even a 75 basis point hike again. And as long as we're continuing to see these jobs increasing at faster rates than people are expecting, we're continuing to see more and more people on payroll, well, that's not going to be great for financial markets and interest rates, because if jobs are continuing to be fine, the Federal Reserve is just going to continue to increase interest rates to combat inflation. So yeah, it's a good news, bad news sort of situation. They're going to be able to combat inflation, but the bad news is that going to have negative impacts on crypto and on the stock market as interest rates continue to rise. So over the last couple of days, we've started to see the market pull back even more because we're bracing for another pretty significant rate hike in the July meeting from the Federal Reserve. Next thing I want to talk about, though, is going to be what has been going on with Bitcoin, because while all this is going on with the economy, there's a couple of important things that have happened with Bitcoin. First of which is that Bitcoin has recently bounced off of the 200-week moving average. And this is important because historically this has been a very, very prominent indicator for where the crypto market is. Anytime we have seen it drop below this 200-week moving average, we have quickly seen it bounce back above. And very rarely have we seen a weekly close below this 200-week moving average in the entire history of Bitcoin. So what we have seen is, as of recently, we had a close below this 200-week moving average on the weekly charts. But now we have seen that Bitcoin's price rallied all the way up to $22,500 per coin and was rejected off of this. So over the coming days, we want to see Bitcoin's price break back above this 200-week moving average, and that is not going to be easy. There's a lot of selling pressure that's going to happen because of what's going on with inflation, with the Federal Reserve, and really just because there are a lot of orders from bears and short sellers right over there. So keep an eye out on this 200-week moving average. If we are able to see a weekly close above 22,500, that is a great sign that the bull market is finally starting for Bitcoin, that the bottom has already been in. Other thing that's happening with Bitcoin, which is also pretty good news, is that we're seeing something called the Puell multiple, which is historically accurately predicted multiple bottoms in the market, multiple tops in the market throughout the entire history of Bitcoin. And what we can see is that this Puell multiple has showing right now that Bitcoin is in an extreme buy zone. That historically, whenever it is in this green zone right here, that is a buy for investors. That is indicating a buy. Whenever it's in this red zone, that indicates it's a sell. And historically, it has always been pretty accurate. It has correctly predicted 3 different extreme cases of the bottom of the market and 3 different extreme cases of the top of the market. And what we're seeing right now is that Bitcoin's price is well within this buy zone right now. The Puell multiple right now is at 0.35. And historically, when we have seen the bottom of the market back in 2019, back in 2015, and really in 2012, every single time we have seen the bottom of the market come in, it was right around this 0.3 to 0.35 for the Puell multiple. So this is another bullish sign for crypto investors. And last thing that's going on is going to be with what is happening with this realized price levels. So what we're seeing is that Plan B on Twitter talked about the 200-week moving average as well as the realized price levels. The important thing here is that we're seeing a lot of important levels for Bitcoin right at 22,500. So what we're seeing is that, yes, the 200-week moving average is right at that level. We want to see Bitcoin's price break back above it. But the other thing is the realized price levels. This means like how many investors are actually in the profit who are holding Bitcoin. And what we want to see is Bitcoin break back above this, and that is really going to be a very sure sign that the market has hit the bottom, and that now, even if we don't rally straight away to new record highs, that now the bottom is in and we're going to start working our way higher. So ultimately, that's what's going on with the market. Just keep an eye on what is going on with inflation, the Federal Reserve, because that could have negative impacts on the market. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know your thoughts. Current state of the market. I'm continuing to buy all of my crypto positions long term. I'm continuing to add to Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of my other top altcoins, as well as my stock positions. So let me know your thoughts on the market. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya.